Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time of the day again. Your headlines on the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land and told to you by me, Rivlin Marks. So let's take a look at those top stories, and we begin by saying Mabruk and Mazal Tov to Israel, who has opened up our first embassy since the signing of the Abraham Accords, this time in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates. A really, really historic moment indeed. So what got us to this moment? Let's take a look at what has been going on today. Our Foreign Minister Yair Lapid departed for the Emirati capital this morning and landed and was greeted with a red carpet and by his counterpart, the UAE Minister of State Ahmed Al-Sayed. The two of them, after meeting, speaking for a while, then headed on to the site of the new embassy, where it was open to great enthusiasm. Zuzah fixed to the door. Really emotional moment, I think, for all of us who were watching events transpire. Our envoy to the UAE, Eitan Naer, spoke about how you can feel the excitement in the air. It's absolutely palpable, and this just cements the great relationship between our two countries. Now, it's a doubly historical day because even though Israeli officials have visited the UAE since the announcement of the Accords, there hasn't been an official high-level visit since the signing of the Accords, and Yair Lapid becomes the first official to do so, something that former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hoped to do himself. In his speech opening up the embassy, the Foreign Minister paid tribute to the former Prime Minister by thanking him for his vision. He then went on to say, this is what Israel believes in. We believe in peace in the Middle East, and today is absolute evidence of peace taking flight, and we hope many more countries will join the ever-expanding circle of peace. And now I'm sure for the rest of the day, Israel and Emirati officials will be signing those important memorandums of understanding, but also on the agenda for today will be the opening of a consulate, this time in Dubai. So we have cemented those relationships. It is a great day, a historical day for both Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Staying in the region, because today really seems to be all about the leaders meeting, we now go to Egypt, and Prime Minister Bennett and his counterpart in Egypt, President Sisi, have had their first conversation since Bennett has taken office. In this conversation, we know that the two leaders spoke about maintaining a ceasefire and building on the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Prime Minister Bennett also reiterated that the bodies of fallen soldiers Oron Shaul and Hadar Golden, as well as Israeli civilian captives Hisham Al-Sayed and Avera Mengistu, must be returned safely to Israel. And the two leaders also spoke about regional developments and agreed to meet sometime soon. So it looks like a real cementing of ties between the two countries. We do have a peace agreement in place with Egypt, but we would also love it if we got to the point where we would see mutual tourists, memorandums of understanding, and the kind of cooperation we are seeing with other member states who we have peace agreements with. And our final meeting of the day now takes us to Washington, where President Rivlin has met with President Biden. This is part of the president's farewell tour in the United States. And we know that during this meeting, which was really congenial, if you looked at the body language between the two leaders, President Biden reiterated that he will not allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. He said not on his watch, which is really reassuring to the Israelis. He also spoke about inviting Prime Minister Bennett to meet with him pretty soon, which is also a sign of strong relations between our two countries, America being our greatest ally. And President Rivlin reiterated that aid in Gaza and the rebuilding of Gaza has to be contingent on the returning of the bodies of Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul and our civilian captives. So that message going out at all levels very, very strongly. And those are our top stories. Productive meetings indeed today. Don't forget, you can check out our online content on our website at www.layoftheland.online. Many of you have been following the story of former South African Minister Ronnie Kasrils and his war of words with the country's chief rabbi, Warren Goldstein. We have a follow-up story on that. That should be posted relatively soon. Don't forget to read there. It will also be on our Facebook page, and we would love to hear from you. So comment on our posts, and don't forget, while you're on Facebook, to like us, follow us, and share our content. It's so important that we get Israel's side of the story out to as many people as possible, because hey, the mainstream media is not going to do that work for us. We're also on the Israel Brief. It also helps if you share and subscribe by clicking on the red subscribe button. And we're on Twitter. You can follow us, interact with us at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. So that's at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. So with today's edition of the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you a safe and healthy rest of your day. To our viewers in the United States, our thoughts and our prayers continue to be with the community of Surfside. We do have confirmation that the official death toll at the moment is at 11, and we really hope that we can recover more people found alive. We will never give up hope, not as long as we have our teams there on the ground, but we continue to think of you during the course of the day. And until tomorrow, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. See you next time.